Hello, welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I've got breaking news coming out from Israel to share with you. So we have a report just breaking here in the last couple hours that Hezbollah fired 2 mortar shells into northern Israel, striking Mount Dove. Okay, this is in like northeastern Israel, close between Lebanon and Syria. And supposedly, the reason why Hezbollah carried out this strike was to send a warning to Israel that they have been violating the ceasefire. Okay, so both sides technically have already violated this ceasefire, as France and the US are now claiming that Israel has breached the ceasefire agreement with at least 52 violations, according to France. Okay, the US also jumping on board. I'll show you that information here just coming out today, that the US is claiming that Israel has also violated the agreement prior to Hezbollah already firing into Israel just today. So Israel's coming out and warning that this is a serious violation of the ceasefire, and Israel will respond strongly to this. That was a statement from Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister, today. And the Pentagon also claiming that despite several incidents, the ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah is still in place. Okay, so this could definitely lead to tit-for-tat strikes again, back and forth with Hezbollah and Israel, and we could see this war start to kick off again. We also heard a couple days ago from the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu that if Hezbollah does violate the agreement in any way, they will respond strongly, and they're prepared for full-scale war as well with Hezbollah if need be. So definitely things are very tense over here right now, and the ceasefire could definitely collapse at any moment. So I want to talk some more about this today and share this information with you guys. We're going to hop right into this. We're going to start off here on X with next Israel-Hezbollah ceasefire on the verge of collapse. On Monday, Hezbollah shelled Mount Dove, a western spur of the Hermon. The target was apparently IDF positions on Mount Dove. It was the militant group's first attack since a truce with Israel went into effect last week, after Lebanon accused Israel of allegedly violating the truce more than 50 times in recent days. Okay, so what we have been hearing is that Israel has already been violating this agreement by striking targets inside of Lebanon. I'll show you guys some actual video footage that came out just a few days ago of a strike inside of southern Lebanon. So Israel's claiming that Hezbollah is still violating this agreement. They're not supposed to be moving weapons down to southern Lebanon, and apparently Hezbollah has been doing that. So that's the reason why Israel is striking targets, to prevent Hezbollah from bringing more weapons to southern Israel, or southern Lebanon, and potentially carry out another attack onto Israel again in the future. So it says right here, the Israeli military said 2 shells were fired towards Mount Dove, a disputed Israeli-held territory known as Shebat Farms in Lebanon, where the borders of Lebanon, Syria, and Israel converge. Israel said the shells landed in open terrain and there were no reports of casualties. Okay, so that's obviously good news. No casualties or injuries here. The shells landing in open terrain, but again, this is still very bad, as Israel has come out and claimed they will react on this. And here's the response from the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu. Hezbollah's firing at Mount Dove is a serious violation of the ceasefire. Israel will respond strongly to this. Okay, also from the Pentagon, despite several incidents, the ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah is still in place. Okay, so currently at this time, the ceasefire is still in place, we shouldn't see it completely collapsing yet, but I think it is possible this could definitely lead to more tit-for-tat strikes, and then here we go again. Now this war is going to start kicking off, and we did hear recently that from Benjamin Netanyahu, right after the ceasefire was agreed upon by him and the Israeli cabinet, that this was an opportunity for them to regroup, give their troops a breather, and start focusing on Iran. I showed you guys that whole report soon after the agreement came out, just about a week ago. And, maybe this is what they're preparing. Maybe they're preparing for another offensive onto Lebanon again. I think it's very possible if this ceasefire agreement collapses. We'll have to see what happens here. But definitely this war could start to kick off again if it does collapse, okay? So also from the Times of Israel, Netanyahu says Hezbollah mortar fire on northern Israel constitutes truce violation, vows forceful response. Okay, so they are definitely going to respond to it. And there was some reports of airstrikes soon after, just about an hour or so after these 2 shells were striking northern Israel. Okay, it says here, after a Hezbollah mortar attack on an IDF position in the Mount Dove area, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vows a firm response. Hezbollah's firing at Mount Dove constitutes a serious violation of the ceasefire, and Israel will respond forcefully, he says in a statement. We are determined to continue enforcing the ceasefire and to respond to any violation by Hezbollah. A minor one will be treated like a major one. Minutes before, Lebanese media reported a series of IDF airstrikes in southern Lebanon. Okay, so immediately, two shells hit an open area inside of northern Israel. Soon after, then we're seeing IDF airstrikes inside of southern Lebanon. Okay, so this could definitely get out of control very quickly. Hopefully that's not the case. But also from Israel Katz, the new Minister of Defense for Israel, says we promise to act against any violation of the ceasefire by Hezbollah, and that is exactly what we will do. Hezbollah's firing at the IDF post in Mount Dove will be met with a harsh response. What was will not be. Okay, so we'll see what else they decide to do other than carrying out some airstrikes. Hopefully this does not escalate back to war again, and then all of a sudden the ceasefire deal breaks, but it is a possibility, okay? Also from Ozen Defender, within the last hour, the Israeli Air Force launched a series of strikes on Hezbollah military infrastructure in southern Lebanon, likely as a response to a Hezbollah mortar attack earlier today near Mount Dove in northern Israel. Here's a picture coming out from that area that appears to show an airstrike somewhere inside of southern Lebanon. Okay, so they definitely were hitting targets there. We also had this report here from World Source News 24/7. Hezbollah claims first attack on Israeli troops since the ceasefire. So this is apparently a statement that came out from Hezbollah that says, following the repeated violations initiated by the Israeli enemy of the cessation of hostilities agreement announced to have come into effect at dawn on Wednesday, November 27, 2024, which take various forms, including firing on civilians and airstrikes in various parts of Lebanon, which led to the martyrdom of citizens and the injury of others, in addition to the continued violation of Lebanese airspace by hostile Israeli aircraft reaching the capital Beirut. And since the reviews of the relevant authorities to stop these violations did not succeed, the Islamic resistance carried out an initial warning defensive response this evening, Monday, targeting the Ruwaysat al-Alam site belonging to the Israeli enemy army in the occupied Lebanese Kfar Shuba Hills. He who warns is excused. Okay, so obviously a major warning from Hezbollah as well, and that's the reason why they launched these two mortar shells over here into northern Israel to warn Israel about their strikes that they've been taking and carrying out inside of southern Lebanon recently. But again, Israel claiming that the reason why they're doing this is due to Hezbollah already starting to violate the agreement by potentially bringing weapons down to southern Lebanon, and they're not supposed to be doing that, okay? They're supposed to be withdrawing beyond the Litani River and moving all their equipment away from there, and the Lebanese military is supposed to be moving into southern Lebanon to take control of the situation. So also from Vivid, Hezbollah terrorists loaded weapons into a vehicle in southern Lebanon. The Israeli Air Force bombed them into oblivion. Zero tolerance for terrorists, ceasefire or not. Anyone who threatens Israel is sent to hell. Good job, Israel. Okay, so Vivid, obviously a major supporter of Israel. That's why he's speaking this way. And this was video footage coming out from the IDF carrying out an airstrike just in the last few days inside of southern Lebanon. Supposedly a Hezbollah militant here carried weapons and transporting them in his vehicle. And that's supposedly why they carried out this strike, okay? So also from the Israel Defense Forces over the past day, IDF troops operated in several locations in southern Lebanon to remove threats to the state of Israel that were in violation of the ceasefire agreement conditions. IDF troops identified several armed terrorists adjacent to a church in southern Lebanon yesterday that was actively used by the Hezbollah terrorist organization. The troops fired toward the terrorists and eliminated them. The eliminated terrorists were operatives in the Hezbollah Qiyam ground defense, anti-tank missile and artillery units, and shot at the troops from the church. Following the elimination of the terrorists, the troops scanned the church and area and located a tunnel shaft containing weapons. Okay, this was just coming out yesterday, guys. I mean, look at this, too. Here's the idea of still operating inside of southern Lebanon, still engaging with Hezbollah, even on the ground, still firing back and forth at each other. So, I mean, even though there is a ceasefire, it is not a complete ceasefire, okay? Both sides are still attacking each other for the most part. And as we can see, even though Israel's still operating inside of southern Lebanon, there is still Hezbollah forces in southern Lebanon when they're not supposed to be there. So again, that's the reason why, supposedly according to Israel, that's why they're still carrying out strikes down here in southern Lebanon right now, okay? Also from Ozen Defender, during a visit earlier today, To Israeli forces operating in southern Lebanon, Israeli Chief of General Staff Lieutenant General Herzi Halevi stated, "We will attack strongly in the face of Hezbollah's serious violation. We will continue to do so. We have plans and goals ready to be activated at any moment." Okay, so this is video footage coming out from southern Lebanon showing Herzi Halevi here, the IDF Chief of Staff, operating inside of southern Lebanon with the Israeli forces. It clearly shows they're still there trying to remove Hezbollah and all their capabilities. They're still finding weapons. As we were able to see just in that last post, they found some underground tunnels and weapons still being stored there. So they're ready for anything right now, okay? And we'll see what happens if they get activated and they start operating down here more heavily. But yeah, they're still there inside of southern Lebanon right now, okay? So also one more thing here from World Source News 24/7, heavy gunfire in the vicinity of the city of Bint Jbeil, southern Lebanon. Okay, so even gunfire being heard in southern Lebanon also. Most likely this could be after these airstrikes were taking place. Maybe Hezbollah starting to engage with Israeli troops down there as well. So like I said, guys, even though there's a ceasefire agreement right now, it's not completely a ceasefire. They're still attacking each other back and forth, and a very big possibility this whole thing could collapse and we end up back to war between these two. Okay, also from the Jerusalem Post, I want to show you guys this as well, as Israel's being accused right now by the U.S. and also France of violating terms of the ceasefire. As it says here from the Jerusalem Post, Israel has been violating terms of Lebanon ceasefire, U.S. envoy Hochstein claims. Earlier, Lebanon's health ministry said that one person was killed in an Israeli airstrike on Mar Jayun in southern Lebanon. Okay, this just coming out today, December 2nd, 2024. So yesterday, we had France accusing Israel of 52 violations. Now U.S. coming out and saying the same thing. So it says here, U.S. Special Envoy Amos Hochstein told Israel that there had been Israeli violations of the ceasefire agreement in Lebanon, state broadcaster KAN reported on Monday. The report came as Lebanon's health ministry said that one individual had been killed in an airstrike in Mar Jayun, near Lebanon's southern border with Israel. Earlier on Monday, Foreign Minister Gideon Zahar told his French counterpart Jean-Noël Barrot in a phone call that Hezbollah terrorists who are currently south of the Litani River are violating the ceasefire agreement with Lebanon and must move northward. Zahar also reportedly told Barrot that Israel was not breaching the ceasefire but was enforcing it in light of Hezbollah's violations of it. On Sunday, it was reported that France had claimed that Israel had breached the ceasefire with Lebanon, with some 52 violations being counted on that day. Okay, so 52 potential violations that Israel is committing already inside of this with the ceasefire agreement. But then also, in terms of these strikes inside of southern Lebanon, if Hezbollah has not withdrawn beyond the Litani River and they agreed to do so, it makes sense why Israel would be carrying out these strikes, especially if Hezbollah doesn't look like they're even moving beyond the Litani River. They're kind of just hanging around and transporting equipment. Who knows if they're trying to move their equipment beyond the Litani River, but that's why we're still seeing these strikes inside of southern Lebanon, is because Hezbollah has not fully evacuated and moved beyond the Litani River. So let's keep a close eye on this. I'm definitely going to watch this story and see how it unfolds. And hopefully we don't have a collapse in the ceasefire, because if that does happen, looks like strikes are going to continue back and forth with Israel and Hezbollah. But I will definitely get you guys another update as soon as we get more information on this. But I want to thank you so much for tuning in for this update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoyed my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.